I couldn't move. I couldn't speak, but I could hear everything. The steady beep of the ICU monitor, the soft shuffle of nurses, and then their voices. My mother's voice, calm. Too calm. He won't wake up. The doctors said it themselves. My father sighed, like he was tired of waiting. Then there's no point letting everything go to waste. Everything? I was screaming inside my own head. What are you talking about? But my body wouldn't listen. Days blurred together. Maybe weeks. Time didn't make sense anymore. But their visits did. They came often. Not to hold my hand. Not to pray. To discuss logistics. The house already has a buyer. Her jewelry? I've packed it. Transfer the accounts before anyone questions it. Each word felt like a knife, slow and deliberate. They weren't grieving me. They were erasing me. And the worst part? They said it like I was already gone. Like I didn't exist anymore. Like I never mattered. But what they didn't know? What they couldn't possibly know was that behind my kitchen wall, hidden behind a door no one else even knew existed, was the one thing that would destroy everything they thought they'd stolen. And the moment I woke up, I wasn't going to cry. I was going to make them regret every single second they thought I was dead. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect you, this story is going to hit hard. Make sure you like, subscribe, and stick around. Because this revenge? It's not just satisfying. It's unforgettable. I was 32 when everything went dark. One moment, I was driving home after a late shift. The next, headlights, a horn, then nothing. When I opened my eyes again, I couldn't actually open them. Not fully, just flickers, light bleeding through my eyelids, sounds leaking into my mind like distant echoes. ICU. That word came later. At first, it was just confusion. A strange awareness trapped inside a body that refused to respond. And then, realization. I was alive. But no one knew I could hear them. The first few days, at least, I think they were days, were filled with doctors, nurses, clinical voices. Terms like coma, uncertain recovery, low probability. But then my parents arrived. I hadn't seen them in years. Not since I moved out. Not since I cut ties. Because they weren't parents in the way people imagine. They were collectors. Of control, of money, of anything that could be taken and repurposed for themselves. Growing up, everything I had was never really mine. Gifts were investments. My salary, once I started working, became family contribution. Even my first apartment. They insisted on co-signing just to help. I learned quickly. Help always came with a price. So I left, built my own life, quietly, carefully, and most importantly, independently, or so I thought. Because as I lay there, unable to move, I heard the truth unravel. She never removed us from anything. My father said one afternoon, his voice low but laced with satisfaction. I told you she wouldn't, my mother replied. She always thought she was smarter than us. A pause, then papers shuffling. The house is already in process. Since we're listed as next of kin and she's incapacitated, it's straightforward. My heart, somewhere deep inside, started pounding. My house? No, that wasn't possible. I had worked for years to buy that place. Every late night, every sacrifice, every skipped vacation. It wasn't just a house. It was proof that I made it out. And they were selling it? Just like that? And the jewelry? My mother asked. Already packed. Some of it is worth more than I expected. He chuckled. I felt sick. That jewelry wasn't just expensive, it was personal. Pieces I bought myself. Some gifted by people who actually cared. Small symbols of a life I built without them. Gone. All of it. Accounts are next, he added. We'll transfer what we can before legal complications arise. Legal complications. That's what I was to them now. A complication. Not their daughter. Not someone fighting to wake up. Just an obstacle between them and everything I owned. And the worst part? They weren't even hiding it. They spoke freely, casually, like they'd been waiting for this moment. Like my silence was their opportunity. Inside, I was screaming, thrashing, begging my body to move, to react, to do anything. But nothing happened. I was trapped, forced to listen as they dismantled my entire life piece by piece. Until one day, my mother said something that made everything go cold. "What about the kitchen renovation she did?" she asked. There were no receipts, no records, my father scoffed. "Does it matter? It's all being sold anyway." A pause. And then, "I always thought it was strange," she said slowly. "That wall," it sounded hollow. Silence. For the first time since I'd been there, I felt fear cut through my anger. Because behind that wall wasn't just a renovation. It was a secret. One I never told anyone about. One I built for myself, just in case. And if they found it before I woke up, everything would be gone. The moment my mother said the wall sounded hollow, something inside me snapped awake. Not physically, not yet, but mentally. Crystal clear. They were close. Too close. That hidden space behind my kitchen wall wasn't just some random compartment. I had built it after cutting them off after, realizing exactly what kind of people they were. It was my insurance. Inside that room was everything I never trusted the world, or them, with. Cash savings, legal documents, backup drives, and most importantly, proof. Proof of every shady thing they had ever done in my name. Because before I left, I had noticed patterns. Small things. Missing money. Documents I never signed but somehow existed. Loans taken out under family authority. So I started collecting evidence. Quietly. Carefully. And when I finally walked away, I made sure I had something they could never touch. Unless they found it. Days passed. Or maybe hours. Time didn't matter anymore. All I could think was, don't let them find it. Not yet. Just give me one chance to wake up. And then it happened. A flicker. My finger twitched. Small, almost invisible. But it was enough. Because the next morning, when the nurse came in to check my vitals, she paused. "Wait, can you hear me?" Inside, I screamed, "Yes!" Another twitch. This time stronger. Everything exploded into motion after that. Doctors rushed in. Machines beeped faster. Voices overlapped. "He's responding. This could be it. Stay with us." And for the first time since the accident, I wasn't trapped anymore. Recovery wasn't instant. It never is. But I didn't need full strength. I just needed time. And silence. Because I didn't tell my parents. Not at first. They walked into my room 2 days later, expecting the same lifeless body. Instead, they found me watching them. The look on their faces? Pure shock. Like they'd seen a ghost. "You're awake?" my mother whispered. I didn't answer immediately. I just stared, letting the weight of everything I heard sit between us. My father recovered first. Of course he did. "This is incredible," he said quickly, forcing a smile. "We were so worried." Worried. The word tasted bitter in my mind, but I smiled back. Weak, controlled. "Thank you for taking care of things," I said quietly. Their eyes lit up. Greed always shines through. And in that moment, I knew exactly how this would play out. I played along, for weeks, pretending I didn't remember, pretending I didn't hear, letting them believe they had already won. Meanwhile, I rebuilt, quietly. I contacted a lawyer, then another, then a private investigator. Everything they had done while I was unconscious, illegal. Every sale, every transfer, every signature they forged, I had the proof. And they had no idea. But I didn't stop there. Because I didn't just want my life back. I wanted them to feel what I felt. Helpless. Exposed. Erased. The day I invited them over, they thought it was a celebration. "Back home at last," my mother said. Stepping into the house, they thought they had already sold. But something was different. The furniture. The atmosphere. The silence. "Where's the new owner?" my father asked, frowning. I smiled. "There isn't one." Their expressions shifted. Confusion. Then unease. "You sold it," I continued calmly. But the sale was reversed. "That's not possible," he started. "It is," I cut in. "When the signatures are proven fraudulent." Silence crashed over the room. And then I walked into the kitchen, placed my hand against the wall, pressed. The hidden door clicked open. Their faces went pale. Inside, I pulled out a folder. Thick. Heavy. Evidence. bank records, audio recordings, signed statements. I heard everything, I said softly. Every word while I was in that bed. My mother's knees nearly gave out. You don't understand. No, I said. You don't. And right on cue, the front door opened. Police, legal representatives, witnesses. Everything I lost, returned. Everything they took, counted. And everything they tried to hide, exposed. People always say betrayal hurts the most when it comes from strangers. They're wrong. It's when it comes from the people who were supposed to protect you that it cuts the deepest. But here's the thing I learned. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes, it's just the moment before everything changes. They thought my story ended in that hospital bed. But it didn't. That was just the part where I stopped being their victim and started becoming their consequence. If this story gave you chills, you already know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe for more stories where karma hits exactly where it should. And I want to hear from you. What would you have done in this situation? Would you have forgiven them? Or gone even further? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And remember, some people don't regret hurting you. They regret getting caught. Stay tuned, because the next story might just be even crazier.